All right. This is a good one to start with. We'll get to Cham versus Richard in a bit. This one is this is a good match too. All right. I actually haven't heard any of these guys' commentary yet either. So here's the thing. Oh man, I hate that it gets dim. God damn Twitch. Is there a way to prevent this? Fucking website. All right. Well, here's the thing. I think that Marvel, let's just talk a little bit about Marvel, I guess. Can we go backwards? Can I not use the arrow key? Yes. Let's just go backwards. Here's the thing about Marvel that I'll tell you about Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite. I think that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, all right, we'll just start from the top. I think that Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite is the most hectic fighting game that I have ever watched in my life. Right? I think it's the most hectic fighting game I've ever watched in my life. And I think that if you're not already thinking about the match at the character select screen, you'll be very confused during the match. You know what I mean? Like, I think if you're already not thinking about how the teams can interact from the start, then you're behind. Because the game is just so wild that you really have to sort of start to think about the character interactions and the way it goes before it even starts, because otherwise, like, you're just gonna be overwhelmed, you know? It's such a crazy game. Like, I don't think I've ever watched a fighting game this hectic in my life. I don't think anything is that close. And I think that, yeah, I think that these teams are both really strong. I think everybody thinks that Dormammu with any strong point character is a really effective shell. Already, it's pretty clear that Dorm is like one of the strongest, if not the strongest, support characters. But yeah, this game is hard to watch. I think you really have to pay attention. So I think that if you're already not thinking about the interactions between the team at this point, you're probably in trouble. About Richard's team, I think Richard's team is like, he's trying to think long term, in the sense that I think Soulstone is probably one of the harder stones to use well, right? Especially the storm activation. But in the long term, I think is a really good choice, because especially you'll see it against Champ's team a lot. Champ's team is very snowbally, and so it really allows Richard to have a chance to come back. Like, you get more chances, and I think chances are important in a game like Marvel, right? Like, you really don't get that many opportunities. So I think Soul makes a lot of sense. Yeah, this game is wild. This game is absolutely wild. Let's just watch through some of this and we'll talk about it. Man, Dante. Oh my god, Dante. That's already one of, I think, his strongest things in this game. I think that Rainstorm is super good. Honestly, like that move is so good. It's like definitely one of the strongest moves that he has. It's tag cancelable. It's an overhead. You can cancel it into other moves in the air, like many of his other attacks, right? So he's canceling into the soul activation. But look how long he hugs the sky. He's in the sky like that whole time, and the tag mix up there is dirty. It's dirty. It's such a strong move. I also think Dark Hole starts up a little too fast in this game, honestly. It's crazy, the speed of it. I don't know if that tag was intentional or not. So, one thing that you've already seen tons of Dante players do is a combo where they do hammer, and then if you do a second hammer, your opponent will get spiked to the ground, and you get a 50-50 here. But if you hold up, people have already found in setups like this, if you hold up, you tech up out of the air. So setups like this are not really as effective, right? It's not really as effective as before. So that's why a lot of people, I think, have sort of already started to realize that these setups are not like sort of end game, right? These setups are kind of like beginner level. You have to have something beyond this, an additional mix-up to make people hesitate here. I think if your team has someone who could go up and air throw them or catch them out of the air for holding up, then yeah, it might be okay. Man, this game is so despicable. So one thing that you should know about this tagging system is that characters, Ringe mentioned this on commentary a few times too, characters will always run in from your back. So technically you can't see it because Dante's vertical here, but his back is facing the left side of the screen. So Dormammu will always come in on the left side of the screen. And the tag is a hit. The tag is a hit, which means that that is a physical strike that catches Cloud's Dante. See that? That's like a really interesting thing to keep in mind. Also, this is why Thorns is so cheap. I think that really the thing about Thorns that many people don't notice is the meter it builds. So if you look down here on the bottom right, this is one of the craziest things to me about Thorns. So first of all, he eats the projectile to activate it, but look how much bar he's gonna build, right? So he's at like 2 1/4 right here. Look at how much bar he builds. He's already positive, before the combo's even close to done. So this combo is already built. This combo's already like 2 bars. This combo has built him 2 bars already. It's already like over meter positive, right? Then he goes for a setup afterwards. Yeah, it's not meaty, as you see. He just gets out with a reversal. That's crazy. The amount of bar that combo builds is seriously absurd. Man, I really think that this is such an effective team. Holds up. That was a good choice. I don't like the tag, but everything else about that was a pretty smart choice. Damn, he got smoked. Yeah, you guarantee that they get stuck. See, he push block and jump out. That's a good choice. Look at this game. This game is actually so convoluted. It's crazy, right? There's so much going on. I wonder why he canceled. Oh, I guess he wants meaty. Yeah, that's really cheap. Alright. Let's start this over and talk a little bit about this. There's some interesting interactions in this set that I think many people might not have seen. So, we'll go back to... This is when he gets the pickup after the Thorns is over, right? He ends his combo, and he goes for a setup here. Now, Richard goes for the setup pretty much the whole top 8, right? He takes the spike here at the end, spikes him back down to the ground, double teleport, and he goes for Thorns. This is not a meaty. You can actually jump out of the Thorns, which you see, like, he just does a reversal here, and he escapes. So it's like sort of his way of waiting it out. He tags in Dante at the end, but Richard does his own Chaotic Flame into tag anyway. So Zero is going to get tagged here. Zero's in recovery, so he's going to get clipped. And at the same time, this whole screen is just taken up, right? This whole screen is just taken up by a Chaotic Flame, and you can get mix-ups behind it. So Chaotic Flame is a really great super for that reason alone. Yeah, you see, he gets hit. He couldn't tell where he was. There's just so much on the screen. Like, the particles are taking up everything. Same setup we saw, right? Triple blue, spike him to the ground, double teleport into Thorns. And you see, he just jumps up. He holds up back. It's not a meaty. And if you have a character who has flight, or if you have a character that allows you to, like, stay in the air a long time, then this is a really effective, like, way to wait out the Thorns. The problem, I think, and this is like a long-term problem, people will realize you can jump out of the Thorns and stay up in the air. The problem is, if you're running away without actively attacking Dormammu from the sky, then you don't have a way to stop him from just doing, oh, you jumped out of my Thorns, power, 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 boom, shoot it again, right? What's to stop him from doing that? Right, which I think is the problem with trying to wait it out, because you can see even here, he just builds up 3. So Dante flies out of the way of Thorns, and he has it again. It's like it doesn't really matter what you do. If you're not attacking him from the air or threatening Dormammu, he's going to get 3 charges again, right? It doesn't matter that you escape the first one. See? So unless you're attacking him from the ground, it doesn't matter. And he gets another Thorns. So the thing is that even though he brought his character back here, like, it's really hard to control them both and not get tagged, right? So they're just taking extra damage. I think this is the risk of Soulstone, right? The risk of Soulstorm is that if your character gets clipped, you will lose out on more health than you originally had. You see what I mean? This is a free level 3, by the way. I think a lot of people are maybe confused about this. I even heard people on commentary mention it. So look when he brings the characters back. They both have a decent amount of health, right? They both have a decent amount of health, but he actually loses more health than he gained by bringing Zero back in this whole situation here. See this? See how much life he lost up there? So yeah, you get a free level 3 every time you do a storm. You just hit the buttons again and it cancels the storm and you get to do it. So you see, even though Cloud used the level 3, none of his bar is gone. So I really don't think that was an effective Soulstorm, just because I think Dormammu is pretty good against it. Chaotic Flame is a good answer to Soulstorm. Down, down. That uppercut is down, down, so it's very easy to catch people. I actually really like this incoming too. In this game, you don't do incoming like you did in Marvel 3. You always come in like at the same kind of angle. I mean, there's other angles you can do, but it's really hard to avoid something like this. Like, most people are not holding up on incoming. They're not doing the different variations of like coming in yet. So most people are just coming in like default and just get clipped. So meaty $1 million on mix-up with teleports behind is pretty good. It's pretty good. It's slightly less volume. Yeah, he is still holding a button when he comes in. You can't do that anymore. This is so messed up. There's so many simple things in this game that are so strong. When's Dragon Ball? Thursday. Thursday, Steve and I are doing a Dragon Ball event. That's when Dragon Ball is. Man, this combo is way too meter positive, I think. Oh, I like this setup better, I think. Layers? Was that auto block? Yeah, empty jump low. I actually think that this move is really cheap in this game. Like, I think it's way too good. Like, so in this game, Dante can cancel million stabs and then just do the fire. And it's so huge, you can't see the mix-up behind it. It's crazy. Is the Jiren versus Goku event? No, it's not streamed when it happens. It'll be streamed right before the episode where they fight is going to happen. Yeah, like every Marvel, like the thing about Marvel that makes it entertaining is that Marvel is a game of degeneracy. Man, that's fucked up. He just punished the tag with his teleport. This is some crazy tech. Okay. This is important to talk about. This is an important tech to talk about. This is something that I've only seen Richard do so far. So, this mix up here that Richard does, the second to last hit of Beehive. So the thing about Beehive, it's the move you see here where he spikes him on the ground and then he kicks him. The second to last kick of this move causes a freeze state that you cannot forward tech out of, or back tech. You have to neutral tech this. This is really interesting Dante tech from Richard. So the second to last hit, the hit before he spikes him, if you devil trick or cancel, you see how he gets stuck in the air like that? How he's floating? He can't forward tech or back tech. He has to neutral tech here. So that's why Richard gets to dash under and go for a mix-up. So Cloud panic tags here, but that mix-up is guaranteed, right? Like you can't forward tech this mix-up. You just get, like, you start shaking in the air like this, and your character is guaranteed to get a mix-up after. You see that? It's so weird looking, but it's like real tech. So check it out. Look at Dante just like... It's really interesting. Yeah, you can't tech forward or backwards there. You have to neutral tech. Freeze him. There's the combo. Oh no, he panicked. He could have done jump H still. tag into Dante. So the interesting thing about this is that Dante is out on the screen when he does this. So he can't actually, so he counter switches in, he brings in Dorm, and then he just does sweep, and then he does super after, right? Dante's still on the screen, but he's able to bring him back in as later on. So the super lasts so long that he still gets a mix-up behind it. This is a glitch, by the way. That crouching light kick and a stinger as an overhead. Crouching, like stinger's an overhead here randomly. Brings them both back. Oh! Yeah, Richard was showing some pretty wild tech for only having the game a little while. I assume he got it early like most people in SoCal by a few days by going to a mom and pop shop. Still pretty gnarly that he knew so much. Man, that's so much red life. He's not dead, right? I'm surprised he didn't tag into Dante and do a combo off that. I think that was a mistake. Yeah, Stinger randomly gets overhead properties off that. Oh. Is that overhead and low? I think the last hit's an overhead, right? So both characters are back. I think as long as you don't take too much damage here, this is totally worth it. I also think sandwiching them is the best choice. So the thing about Soul Storm is that we saw earlier that what happens is if your character gets clipped, it's not really worthwhile, right? Like you actually lose more health than you gain back by reviving a character. But I think that as long as your characters can make it out alive, and you do what he just did here, which is teleport to the other side. If you sandwich them, I actually think that this is like the strongest possible position, because here's what happens. If, let's say this character starts getting hit, your main character starts getting hit, you can just mash the punch buttons for this guy, and he'll start hitting him. So even if this guy hits one of your characters, it doesn't matter because this character can still fight, or this character could still fight, right? That is crazy. So this is actually one of the best examples, I think, of how Soulstone works. He's commanding both characters at the same time, right? And what he does is he has Dante do $1 million and then teleports with Dormammu as a mix-up still. So while $1 million is happening, he can do whatever he wants with Dorm because Dante's stuck in an animation. So, yeah, and then he gets the free level 3 at the end. Yeah, the sandwich is hard to, it's hard to see which way to block because you don't, it's hard to remember who's the point character. Yeah, the meaty $1 million plus mix-ups is really smart because if you have Soulstorm out, it's smart to just use your other, like one character's hyper and then the other character is a mix-up character, right? It's a good choice. Right, if you hold tag, you don't control the secondary character. Hammered his ass. Oh my god, he can't hit a Dante combo. What's happening to Cloud? Both of them. Oh, it didn't combo. He still got hit. Zero has big buttons. Even if you try to hit something there, it's not always a good choice. Rainstorm. Counter switch. He wastes a lot of bar doing this. You can see that Cloud has 3 bars already. He's built it by landing a few hits with Dante, but he hasn't really confirmed anything, so he has to spend 2 bars here. And if you counter switch and then get hit afterwards, I think it's one of the most, one of the fastest ways that the game can turn around on you. Like if you counter switch and then you end up not, wow, that was a big combo drop. Damn, combo dropping and getting both hit. Meaty Thorns, interesting. How did he get hit with Dante? I think he just did a button or something. I like him using jump light kick to float. That's not a command with Dante. The guns in the air, the light kicks. It's just a jumping kick. Tag. Wow, he just swung through the Dante $1 million because his boy was getting. That was crazy. Did he recognize that, or was he just going ham? I don't know which. So Dante is getting shot by Dante. And then these two are fighting over here. It's like a separate fight. Zero and Dorm are fighting because Dante is shooting Dante instead of shooting Zero. You see this? Like, Cloud's Dante is just getting clipped. And so because of that, it means that Cloud just gets to fight Zero Dorm while pretending that this is not even happening. That's so interesting. Ooh, Hammer was first. He's dead. So he gets to revive Dante here. Meaty $1 million tag. He gets double mix up on teleport here. Float. Good block. And the Storm. I like that Richard's just running. Richard still has Storm himself. So as long as he survives this, he should be okay. Because he can still revive Dormammu if he dies. Thorns. It does it all, dude. That was a good cancel. He dropped the combo because of the freeze frame. So he tags in Dante here and goes low. Million stabs. He goes into, I don't know, what is the name of this move? Fireworks or something? You can cancel it with light punch, right? That's how you do crazy dance. And then he just goes low again and picks them both up. He's one of the only Dantes I've seen using that cancel. I actually surprised that comboed. Tag. He gets a mix up. And if you're Richard here, you have character advantage. So I think you try to use, yeah, I was going to say you try to use tag. But it's not a big deal because when he comes in, he gets soul activation 100%. There's like nothing you can do about this. You just mash soul on incoming. It's invincible. So both characters come out. Tag him. He's safe. Free level 3, yeah. That was a good choice. That tag was smart when he saw the forward roll. Because if you're Richard here, right, you're holding... this is a homing projectile once you let go of it. And as soon as he tags, when Dormammu runs in, it's a hit. So he at least buys himself some time. And the air projectile is homing and clip him. Dante's hammer is broken. I think Dante's hammer in this game is worse than last game. But there's not that many moves like hammer in this game. So it's really good still, I think. If his hammer to me feels like it has less priority in this game. It's just there's not that many moves like it. Like there's no more foot dive, there's no more Virgil. Wow, that was sick. There's no more Virgil, Helmbreaker. That was tight. You see how he closes this out, right? He blocks the projectile, he reflects it, and then the block stun of the projectile is what he uses $1 million off of. So he forces the block stun because of it. You see that? So he uses the reflected projectile to set up the end of that. So he reflects the projectile and then uses the $1 million to lock down as much. Helmbreaker is like, I mean, it still exists, but it's definitely worse in this game than last game. It's just like, it's one of the only moves left like Helmbreaker in the game, right? Like Dante's Helmbreaker has always been worse than Virgil's, but in this game, it's like slightly worse again. And he's like the only character that has, there's not that many characters that have air moves that you can just jump and kind of do downwards that are really stupid. Like foot dive, Helmbreaker. Those moves are all pretty cheap.